from your perspective, why is delegation important? Like as leaders, why do we need to master delegation?
I put a lot of thought into this question because I probably wasn't always the best at it, especially going back to being a micromanager as an engineer and
Mhm.
coming through that process. But what I would say, what is most important is as a leader, you're going to be making decisions, and timing is so critical. You can make the best decision in the world, but if it's made late, your accomplishment is degraded in many ways. So I think it's the timing that you have to do the things you need to do. And if you can delegate some of that off of your plate to others that can do it, and as you move up too, as Joan Shinseki, former chief
Mhm.
staff of the Army, told, I was in a one-star group at the time, and he told us all, he says, get to about the 80% solution, you're just going to keep getting flooded with more and more information. But if you get to about the 80% of the information that you think is available at hand, make a decision, because he says your gut will carry you through. You didn't get to this position, by accident. You've learned, you've had the scars, and just don't wait for the 100%. And actually, I've seen this a number of times, especially in subordinate units, unit commanders. They will wait and miss an opportunity to make a decision. So the timing is so important, and that's why delegating that, having more time to do the things you need to do, again, to accomplish the mission in the end.
Yeah. General Dempsey talked a lot about the importance of having time to think as a leader. If you're doing everybody else's job for them, you don't have time to think as a leader. And so you don't have that really needed resource of time to do what may be the most important thing that you could be doing as a leader. So
Yeah, there was something I'll follow up with. I think that's
yes,
very
sir.
important, and it's in grooming the staff. I always used to tell my staff, before you elevate something to the next level, before it hits my desk, have you stepped back and see and take a look at, have you done everything within your authority and your power to fix this problem before you take it to the next level? Because I found mainly at the mid grade, when I was a major lieutenant colonel and became a branch chief for overseas deployments, and there were a lot of folks that would want to come up and line up at your office door and ask you questions that they really need to be answering. Now, you don't want to tick them off, but you got to educate them. You got to work them. And I found that, most of them, there were a few that probably didn't need to be at that level for whatever reason, but the majority, once you empowered them, especially at the lieutenant, captain level, senior civilian coming through, that they had the authority within bounds to make a decision and to move a product forward, or a decision. It turned out pretty good. But at times, I think, especially in the first 6 months of any job, they don't know who you are in a lot of cases. You've stepped into the role, and they don't know where they stand with you. So they'll want to bounce things off of you. And the
Mhm.
sooner you get them feeling, hey, he trusts me or she trusts me, then the better off you are.
Yeah. As I think about this idea of delegating and why it's important that we've been hitting on, for me, it kind of boils down to this really very simple reality of if I spend my time doing all the things that someone else is doing, could be doing, should be doing, I won't have the time to do the things I'm supposed to be doing, the thinking, the planning, the encouraging, the empowering, those things that you were saying, and developing those people, just as you were mentioning, to be able to do those tasks that they need to be doing. So I think that just for me is so simple. Like, you only have a certain amount of time as anybody, whether leader or otherwise. And so if you're doing everybody else's job, you can't do your own.